Welcome to Marketing Strategies with Audrey Kirchner, sponsored by Inkyma, taking your small business to the next level with proven creative solutions designed to grow your awareness and connect to your customers. Now, here's Audrey.
This is Audrey Kirchner, co-founder and chief marketing strategist of Inkyma. Inkyma is a full-service marketing agency, bringing that big agency process and feel to small businesses and small business owners. We do marketing strategy, branding, website design and hosting, content marketing, search engine optimization, social media, and digital advertising. To learn more about what we do, ask us a question, or to schedule a marketing evaluation for your business, go to our website, inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. If this is one of your first times listening or your first show, we also have a companion podcast, so you can go back and listen to all the previous shows. You can listen on Podbean, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and of course you can go to the website to listen to any of the previous episodes. All right, so today we have two guests with us. We have John and Tyson Liese from Colorado Foothills Properties. And so I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm John Liese.
I'm Tyson Liese.
We are commercial realtors in the Colorado Springs area and actually down into Pueblo and that area also. I still do a little bit of residential real estate in the Florence. I mostly do land. I showed land all weekend. But commercial is our emphasis, and we one of our emphasis is really trying to help small businesses get their business going by finding them a space, finding them a home. And that's where we really emphasize our business, because it's an underserved market in the Colorado Springs. Well, it's underserved in pretty much all commercial markets. It's a lot of times not a big enough deal for the big guys to take it, but Tyson and I really feel that that's just such an underserved market that it's important for small business. Our backbone of our society is small business, and for small businesses to be successful, we hope to help them do that.
Yeah, and so actually the way we kind of got introduced into working with small business owners and being facing in that direction is through the fact that as long as I've been in the business, 6 years now, I think my dad, John's been in the business about 15 years, and it's been mostly based on networking. And so it's within that space and circles of doing networking that you end up talking to small business owners all the time. And so that's where we really identified this need and really created a niche out of working with small business owners out of that.
I'm sure as folks heard, John and Tyson are father and son. So how did you guys get into business together?
Well, Tyson graduated from UCCS with a double major, and he also was working for the Pikes Peak Marathon at the time, and actually a paid employee for the Pikes Peak Marathon. And he really enjoyed it, and he wanted to keep doing that. And he said, well, what can I do where I can still work the Pikes Peak Marathon? And I said, why don't you just go get your real estate license, and you can help me, and you can do that type of business, but also you can still work for the Pikes Peak Marathon. And that's kind of how he started.
Okay, so I just got an aside question. The Pikes Peak Marathon, do they actually run up the mountain?
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly.
Starts at Mantua Springs and goes all the way up Bar Trail to the top. And then the full marathon, obviously, you go up to the top and back down.
Wow. As a former marathoner, I'm humbled.
I'm a runner, not a marathoner.
Marathons don't like any of us. It's just those of us that do them are stupid enough just to ignore our feet and ankles and knees and continue on with them. So, Tyson, you started talking a little bit about networking, which I think is an amazing marketing tactic that a lot of people don't consider a true marketing tactic. But in reality, it is very, very valuable. So talk to me a little bit about how you use networking in conjunction with other marketing tactics to really make it work. Because sometimes people think networking is just handing a bunch of cards out and hoping someone calls, which is not a good way to do it.
Yeah, I guess in essence that is still marketing. Like you said, it's very poor marketing.
It is very poor.
But it is still, because something that we've been taught very early on from a real estate perspective is you have two different types of lead generation in business. There's marketing and there's prospecting. And so marketing is one where if you imagine you're a fisherman, marketing is just throwing out a net and hoping fish swim into it. Or prospecting is more aggressive in a way where you're actually going out and throwing your fishing pole over and over again trying to hope you catch a fish. And so networking, if you really look at it, what are you doing? You're going to an event, you're meeting a whole bunch of people, you're setting out a very big net, and then you're hoping that through enhanced communication, relationship development, and activity, that you will start to catch some fish eventually just by increasing exposure, increasing your name brand. And so, in response to people not thinking that networking is marketing, I think it's kind of the epitome of word-of-mouth marketing. All you're doing is going out and trying to meet as many people as possible, people you connect with, develop relationships with, and then hope eventually one day it turns into referrals or direct business or something along those lines. So
we network a lot with a gentleman by the name of Steve Fisher. And his philosophy, and the philosophy that Tyson and I use, is the more people that you can help, the more you will receive in return. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. Like you said, throwing out the cards, you're not helping anybody.
Nope.
You go out, and with that type of relationship, you build relationships. You get to know people. Colorado Springs is a relationship community. Denver is a transactional community. It's a different ball game down here, which is we really like, because you sit down with somebody, you have a one-on-one. Might you do business together? Maybe. But might you also know other people that need that person's service? Probably. So you help that person get business, and somewhere down the line, they'll know somebody that needs your service. And that's where the relational marketing really comes in, and that's what we try to do. Go to marketing events and get to know people, build rapport with people, build trust. More people trust you, the more they'll do business with you.
Yeah, we both feel that that's becoming more true than ever in today's society. People want to do business with people who they know, like, and trust. And I'm sure you guys have all heard that before, but what does that mean, really? It means that, I know this person, I see them on a weekly, monthly, whatever basis, and I can trust their character, and so I can trust that they're going to do their best for me, and then they're also going to provide a good service because I've seen how they do it for other people. And so, especially in something like a real estate transaction, because it's a pretty big financial endeavor for a lot of people, whether it's signing a 5-year lease or buying your first house or an investment property or something like that. You want to feel like the person who's helping you is helping you because they want to help you. They're not helping you because they're dialing for dollars and you're just another number to them.
There's a paycheck involved. That's not the reason.
Those are very personal transactions. There's a lot of emotion involved, even on the business end, especially like what you had said earlier. It's like if you're trying to find your very first space so you can open your business, that's your dream.
Yes.
And so you're putting your dream in someone else's hands. I really liked what you said about, looking beyond the person in front of you. A lot of times with networking, people look at someone and go, I don't think you can help me. I don't know if you can help me. You can help me. And they focus on the third person. What they don't realize is they don't know who you know. I remember one of my best referrals came from my dentist, right? He's B2C. I'm B2B. But we had this great relationship. Turns out he was the treasurer for his local Rotary Club.
Okay.
And so he got me connected in with the Rotary. For years, I did all their marketing for their fundraisers and then did print material for them. And then they started a foundation, all because I had a great relationship with my dentist. So I think to your point, you got to build a relationship with anybody that's like-minded, who does business the way you do.
And we've given out several referrals that we would never have expected. Just from chatting with someone. And at the same time, too, right now we have 2 properties for over $1 million under contract through someone who we networked with at the Tri-Lakes Chamber of Commerce. And it's just one of those things where she's on the board for this nonprofit, and they had a building in Woodland Park that they were looking to get out of Woodland Park and closer to Colorado Springs because they live in Monument, so that would have been ideal. But regardless, they wanted to get a little bit farther or closer to home. And so, she called us up and said they need to sell their commercial building up in Woodland Park, and we got that under contract and are helping them buy another building in Colorado Springs right now.
As I'm thinking, Tammy, I think it is with women that are in need of assistance and not with their kids that are in a situation that's not positive. And I think now that I think back about it, that is actually what she does.
Okay.
So,
but very unlikely source for $1 million transactions.
Yes.
But again, it's building those relationships. So walk me through your mindset when you sign up to go to a networking meeting.
Yeah.
What's your thought process so that you get to the end of the meeting, you go, wow, that was successful? Like, what do you do during the meeting? What do you do after the meeting? Because a lot of times people forget about what you do after the meeting.
First thing I do is find out if there's going to be alcohol and food involved, because that's always an important. No, only kid. During the meeting, it's meeting people on a surface level, and then getting their contact information and setting up what I'll call one-on-ones.
Yeah.
To sit down with them, have coffee, have lunch. Usually, you try to do it for a half hour, but it ends up being sometimes an hour, hour and a half, because you get to know people.
Yeah.
And you really get to know their family, how many kids they have, what their background is. And it's amazing how many people I meet who have similar backgrounds or from similar area that I'm from.
Can I give a plug real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm on the board for an organization called Front Range Power Connectors. Some of you guys may have heard of them, but some of you may have not. We've kind of been out of operation the past year because of COVID. But the group was started by a gentleman by the name of Gary Rollins, who, he loves networking. He does the same thing that we're talking about right here all the time. And he felt like there was a need in the community to kind of answer this question that you just posed to us. How do you network well? How do you turn networking into be a powerful tool for you? And so the whole idea of Power Connectors was to connect people that are very well connected in the community, have done a lot of networking, and can help mentor people that may just be trying to figure it out. They might have just moved to Colorado Springs, might have just opened a business, they might have just launched a career, and they really have no idea what the idea of networking is in the right way. And so it was to connect mentors to mentees to kind of help launch them in the right direction. And so that's been going, it's been successful for 3 to 4 years now, I think. And then next month, it's the fourth Tuesday of every month, we're going to be launching in-person events again, and that's going to be at 3E's Comedy Club the fourth Tuesday in May, and it's going to be at 3E's at 5:30, I think.
5:30 or 5 to 7?
I can send you the information later if you'd like to post it.
Actually, what would be good, is there a website for the organization?
There is. I think might still be in operation, but it's just, I think it's frontrangepowerconnectors.com.
Okay.
And
So if they
Google,
Google,
there's a Facebook page.
Okay,
also.
so there's a Facebook page, and they can Google Front Range Power Connectors, so that they can find it. Because I'm pretty sure once people listen to this, especially because they're offering support on how to network effectively, because that's usually where business owners will start before they start investing, revenue back into a full-blown marketing campaign. So you're listening to Marketing Strategies. Today we're talking with John and Tyson Liese of Colorado Foothills Properties. We're having a discussion about networking and how it can help your business in the long run. To learn more about them and what they do, go to their websites, coloradofoothillsproperties.com. And because I did come over from New Jersey, I'm rebuilding my network. In New Jersey, I knew 10 people in every category, and had most of them on speed dial because we were friends. So I missed that. So I'm rebuilding that.
Yeah, so that's kind of the epitome when you're going to a networking event. A lot of people come in with the idea of trying to generate business. To me, that's the wrong perspective on walking into it.
So true.
When you're walking into the door, you're trying to figure out how many new people can I meet tonight, and how many new people can I try to connect with outside of this event. And so a goal we kind of just arbitrarily set is collecting 5 new business cards. When you walk into an event of someone you have not met before.
A larger networking event.
And then
Absolutely.
It's getting to the point now where Tyson and I, we know pretty much everybody at the net.
Yes, that was me. I'd walk in the room and be like, hi, everyone.
Yeah. And then to his point, it's not just collecting the business cards. It's then trying to set up a meeting to get to know them a little bit better. And then again, when you're walking into that meeting, it's not, how can this person give me business? It's, how can we further this connection? Is there something I can do to help expand their business? Just because that stuff tends to come back around one way or another. If you help someone get to what they want or what they need, it will come back around and help you as well. So
Absolutely. B&I calls that giver's gain. I'm a huge B&I-er. I've been doing it for years. It's one of the very first things I did when I got here was I found and signed up for a local chapter.
Yeah, big one is, and that Monday morning networking meets over at Old Chicago.
I keep hearing about that one.
Yeah,
I got to get there.
It is. It's really good. That's another. Steve Fisher is in charge of that one. And Old Chicago from 11 to about 12:30 on Monday, every Monday. Million Cups every Wednesday.
At 9, yeah.
At 9. And is that down at the Comedy Club?
Yep. 3 E's it's kind of funny.
It's kind of developed into
so Eric's done a great job down there,
yeah.
but it's becoming a pretty premier event space for a lot of things. I think it's one of those things where a comedy club, they have their prime times when they have actual shows, but beyond that, it's just an event space to utilize. So I think Eric has done a good job of being a kind of a pillar of the community so far this year and helping people relaunch events.
Chamber of Commerce is another way. Right now, I belong to the Canyon City Chamber of Commerce, the Latino Chamber of Commerce down in Pueblo, which is Steve Trujillo. Stephen Trujillo does a great job down there with the small businesses down there. He is fantastic. But there's the Tri-Lakes Chamber. I was a member there, board member there for a long time. There's the Fountain Chamber of Commerce. There's the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce. Caters a little bit more to bigger businesses, where the others cater a little bit more to smaller businesses.
Yeah. So that's an important point. One of the things I realized with networking is, you go back, I did a show on strategy, right? You got to figure out who your audience is. So if you're going for those bigger businesses, you've got to align yourself with the right groups, smaller business, different groups. So I'm glad you said that the Colorado Springs Chamber is for bigger businesses trying to do business with other larger businesses versus smaller ones.
Yep, and then Audrey, you just brought up a really good point, something I try to remind people of. Networking is a very long-term marketing strategy.
Yes.
It's not something you can turn around and expect business from 6 months, a year, whatever.
You're not dialing for dollars.
No, it's for the long haul.
Yes.
And so as you're thinking about your marketing strategies from a holistic perspective, you got to have your short-term strategies and your long-term strategies. Now, networking, relationship development, working on your sphere of influence, that's very long-term stuff that will make you sustainable and very successful later on. But you still got to find ways and use other marketing strategies to be successful in the short term. And so that's something that I think we probably didn't know or recognize at first, just because we were making all these great relationships and connections, and they were giving out referrals, but it wasn't enough to sustain us starting out. And so, yes, highly recommend that you implement and use networking as much as you can, but then you also got to have some type of short-term game plan that's going to bring leads in the door immediately.
I was when I was doing majority of residential real estate, I was a big one on door knocking. I loved walking neighborhoods and just knocking on doors. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting people, and usually they were based around like an open house that was going to happen in the area. But you get to see the neighborhood. You get to see the differences in neighborhoods throughout the community, and you get to meet great people, and it is. You get to meet great dogs, and some mean dogs, but usually nice dogs. But knocking on doors was one of my. I don't do it as much anymore.
That's such a great example of that short-term versus long-term that you talked about, because in the biz we call that a marketing mix, right? You got to have short-term, you got to have long-term, you got to have free, you got to have paid, if you're going to do it the right way. So that's great. The other, if you're a person that's petrified to walk the neighborhood, not like John here, you could actually do door hangers, right? Walk the neighborhood, not try to talk to people, but put hangers on the door or send out a preemptive postcard prior to the open house. Those are all real good tactics for your specific
when I would
industry.
walk neighborhoods, we would always try to hand out something of value. When I did it a lot up in Monument, we always would put current events. So what events are happening in Monument this month?
Yeah.
And those would always be on the flyers. You say about being scared. A friend of ours, he's a colleague of ours, Carrie Hutchinson. The first time we went door knocking, she followed me. And I got a phone call. And I go, I got to get this. You go knock on this door. And she was just petrified. She went up and just put the flyer on the door. But the phone call was over, but I acted like I was still on the phone. And so the next house, I go, you got to knock. And so she did. And now she is phenomenal.
See?
She just had to get used to it, get over that
right.
initial fear. And in terms of open houses and meeting, she is the best you will ever find.
It's almost as scary as being on the radio.
Almost.
Yeah, so it's all that sort of stuff. And real estate is probably the most competitive industry out there right now for something like that, probably along with like insurance, mortgage lending, stuff like that. And so something of value is the hardest part to figure out, just because you get stuck on what can I do differently that someone else is not doing. And so you try to find it. And I will say that the most important thing there is once you find something you want to try, stick with it. Don't do it once and never do it again. Just because then you'll find yourself spinning circles, keep trying a bunch of new stuff and not picking up any momentum with any of it.
Yeah.
Consistency is the key to good marketing, because you could have an amazing campaign and you could just hit in the wrong month at the wrong time, but then if you give it 3 to 6 months, you're going to see it over time blossom and bloom. The other thing to what you said for competitive marketing is you can try tactics that other people are doing, just do them better. Do your research, figure out who your target market is, because a lot of times 90% of the people I meet, they're shotgun approach. I want everybody, so I'm going to shotgun this out there. But if you nail that down to a type of person or a type of business or group, then you're going to be so much more successful, because then you're talking to them versus talking at them.
You're absolutely right. Do you want to talk about this?
Well, no, I'm going to bring up this real quick before I forget. When you're old, you forget things. My daughter, Tyson's sister, she started her own cleaning company in January. And we drug Corey out walking neighborhoods with us a couple years ago. And she just hated it. Now that's what she does for her marketing. She knows that she has to walk, she has to meet people.
I love Corey. She is so fierce.
She's pretty fearless.
She is.
And now she is. And she's gotten over that inhibition. So she goes out, comes to our networking meetings, and her business in the last, 4 months now?
Oh, she's killing it. She is just by her measure, she's probably still could be more successful, but for someone who's just launching something.
I want to have her on the show to talk about what you do when you're a startup and how to be successful. But I got to get her on the show to do that. But now that I know that she'll go out and door knock, she'll totally come on the show.
Oh, she will. She's actually, because of her past, she's done shows before. I'm talking about that with Frank Sinclair. She's done 2 shows, I think, with Frank.
Yeah, I'd love to have her.
Yeah. But circling back to, you brought up niche stuff.
Yes.
That is something I also like to talk about when people ask about something in regards to marketing. And, again, just like probably anyone else starting out with a shotgun type of approach, just out of college, getting into real estate, having to feed myself, taking anything, I got friends who are first-time home buyers. I'll take them in. He had just started commercial real estate, so that's what I was learning at the time. So taking commercial clients, land clients, all sorts of stuff. I think my first transaction that was my own was for a truck driver who wanted to buy a piece of land with a house on it down in Sugar City, Colorado. And, I'd never done a real estate transaction, nonetheless done anything on acreage in a small town that is outside of
Sugar
Colorado
City near
Springs.
Ordway. It's actually, close to Puebla,
and so, I was taking it all in. And then it was about 3 years into business that I had a coach who sat down and said, "Why are you trying to focus on doing residential and commercial? You should probably pick one or the other and let the other one go. You're just stretching yourself too far." And so I just thought about it. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. I enjoy doing commercial real estate so much more. It was kind of seamless and effortless how stuff was coming in, just because as we go deeper in, we found that there was an extreme niche there, because my dad brought it up at the beginning, where these small business owners are pretty much going unserved in the community. And so commercial real estate was just like, okay, makes perfect sense. So dropped off residential real estate, focused on commercial real estate, and as I just mentioned, went even a level deeper. Okay, I'm in commercial real estate now. Well, now I see that I interact with small business owners all day long. They're not getting help from anywhere else. Why don't I just make that a niche as well and really focus on developing and fleshing that out? And then once I did that, stuff just kind of lit up.
Right, because you're talking to those folks.
And then
an underserved market, in my opinion. I mean, that's the reason why I started this show, for the exact same reason. I feel like small business owners Started my company for that reason too. They're underserved. Mm-hmm. They really are. So I think it's great that you niche down like that, and you saw benefit. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Hand over fist.
Yeah.
Still, it keeps it keeps expanding and expanding, just because again we're the only people really focusing on this. And so as we start to actually market and make that niche known, then it becomes even more powerful, because then you're a small business owner looking for space. I know the person you need to talk to.
Yeah.
And that becomes almost universal as it keeps going around town.
That's amazing. I mean, I think in any competitive market space, they call that red ocean marketing, right? There's too many sharks, blood in the water, everybody's going after the same thing. But if you can kind of swim out a bit, get to where there's blue ocean, then it's yours, right? To make exactly what you want. So I think that is a great piece of advice for anybody in any competitive market space.
And then I will say along those lines too, once you find your niche and your vision, don't play or color outside the lines of that. I think people like to say that they have this niche, but really if someone comes in and offers them business outside of it, they'll still say, okay, maybe I'll do just this one.
Yeah. I think people get nervous turning away money. But in reality, the way you need to look at that is, if I say no to this person who's outside my wheelhouse, that allows me to say yes to 3 other people when they show up that are in my wheelhouse. Yep. I do the same thing. I get people come to me and they want to do very weird, obscure things that are not within my wheelhouse, or use software that I don't use, and I actually say thank you, but no, here's someone else you could use for that, and because I stay in my wheelhouse, because I'm really, really good at it.
And you get to refer them to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
In my office, actually the other office we were in too, I'm the person that does rural. And we emphasize at our office, Kelly Miller does a great job emphasizing, do what you're good at. Don't do things that you have really no knowledge of. So if somebody has a property that down in Westcliff, I know Westcliff, down in Walsenburg, Canyon City, Florence, those areas I know. So I get referred those areas because I play out in that area. I've done over the last, residentially, in the last 5 years, I've done more outside the Colorado Springs area than inside the Colorado Springs area, because I know those areas.
Well, guys, time flies when you're having an amazing conversation, and that's pretty much it. Any last thoughts you'd like to leave with small business owners before we wrap this up?
Get involved with the community. A lot of people, like I was involved with the Tri-Lakes Chamber, but also Tri-Lakes Cares up in Monument when I lived up there. And you meet so many good people when you volunteer for things. It enhances you as a person. It enhances your business.
For me, I think you brought it up. Whatever you choose to do, especially in marketing, do it well. Don't half think of a strategy that you want to implement and kind of half-heartedly go into it. Really sit down and identify what is core to your vision, your mission as a business, and then figure out what marketing strategies are going to help advance that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Some great last thoughts, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it. And to John's point, here at Inkyma, we like to give back to the business community as well. So I provide a free 45-minute consultation to anyone. Whether you're just looking for some advice, whether you need a marketing agency, those 45 minutes are yours to talk about whatever you want, including networking. I do a lot of networking, so if you want some quick pointers, I can help you in the right direction. Just go to our website, inkyma.com, inkyma.com, and click on the Schedule a Marketing Evaluation button up in the right-hand corner. Pick your time, and then you're on the calendar. If all you have is a really, really quick question, then just pop it into the contact form at the bottom and I will get back to you. If you found this information useful, helpful, fun, engaging like I did, consider sharing it with other business owners that you know, because I created this show to help small business owners be successful in their business. And so the more you share it, the more we as a community can be successful. Thanks so much and have an amazing day.
Thanks for listening to Marketing Strategies, sponsored by Inkyma. Online at inkyma.com. Listen to Marketing Strategies every Saturday at 7:30 on KPPF.